Hello everyone, Fangsify here, and today we are going to watch Skybreaker 96 playing as the hunters against Strider656. So it looks as if ah oh looks snuff uh snuff sorry about that. Uh, sn- Snuff, if you wouldn't mind popping in. I'm in voice channel 4. If you would like to join me for CoCom, by any chance? Alright, let the week 1 supply train begin. So, Skybreaker has opted to go for the Pizza Wizard setup. So... yeah, for those who do not know, Skybreaker and Strider have were actually my opponents in the first round. The fact that they met in the third round means that they have both performed very similar. Let me see. Which group? Well, no need for that. I believe that they are in Group 3 or Group D, because they count the table from the bottom 3 being Group A, but I tend to think of the reverse, but whatever. They are amongst the 7th, 8th, and 9th positions at present, at least at last tally. I mean, for all I know, a couple things have changed. So, Mina and Gul'daming. So, Mina showing the holy bullets. Okay. No, nothing much. Nothing all that remarkable about that. Hmm. Hmm. That's... yeah, so these two have very similar records. I mean, Strider, of course, was the winner of the New Blood tournament. But, I mean, Skybreaker hasn't competed in any tournaments all that recently. He hasn't competed in any of the most recent ones. But he's been in the community for a long time. And well, yeah, I mean, as Skybreaker says, these two may well become arch rivals with how they are just performing neck and neck for the most part. We shall see. Hmm. So nothing remarkable yet, apart from the fact that there have been quite a few Draculans on top. Alright, if that's a hoax he just laid down, it's already looking nice and juicy. Hmm. Bum ba dum bum bum. Yeah, the first week, the first week is always just that waiting for something to happen for the most part. Uh, sometimes it happens a bit soon. Something happens sooner, but well, I suppose we'll simply see what happens. Yeah, let's. Hmm. Bum ba dum bum 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 bum. So, what? Dark Hall. Whoa. Is this an... I don't... I ain't okay. That's definitely interesting. That's not something you see every day. Possibly he just had a handful of garbage stuff that he would throw into layers. Well, in that case, just go dancing around the board, laying it down, making them search a thing that they're hoaxes. Hmm. Couple... Hmm. This... I don't know what I think about Dark Hall. I'll definitely have to ask Strider about that in the post game interview. Assume we have one. If it's a super long game, we may not in the end, but mm. Hmm. What else does Mina have? A steak. Hmm. Okay. Bum ba dee dee dum. There just isn't much to. I mean, why Dark Call? I mean, I have heard news that's back before I joined the community. There was a time where where it was pretty meta to do that as another space that can't be hit by a newspaper. But I mean, as hunters, I don't care I don't care one bit about that. I it increases the possibility of an island start, but hmm. What is there to say? Trade with Sewer now. Have they got their tickets arranged? Hmm. Apologies for rolling on the mic like that. Let's see if we have anyone in our chat. No, not yet. But well, okay, Psychic Bond, non-Austro-Hungaria. Surprise, surprise. But that's a fancy Mina pass. So at least it would appear as if they have all the white ones to be doing that. So, what exactly is he up to? Nogs and holy bullets. Okay. Yeah, typical lower quality items. Crucifix. Oh, is that a newspaper? Rufus Smith. Alright. Not Bucharest. scouts. I would probably poke at Ireland, as this definitely looks as if it's an Ireland behavior. It definitely looks like Ireland behavior. Not checking it. Neither Athens nor Bari. Okay. I mean, I suppose if it ends up being Ireland, and if he has a newspaper reports or something like that, I mean, Seward is right here. He can get there in a matter of, I mean, if he has excellent weather, 1 day, 2 days if not. So long as they have a newspaper report, they may well be fine. I mean, this could, of course, also be his complete bluffery, and it's like down in Spain, taking advantage of the primary weakness of the pizza at the start. I don't know. Speedy telegraph showing on Mina. She finally got an event, huh? Hmm. If you're not in Ireland and want to maintain the act, if you're on the port, you might want to consider going to sea. Well, after one more card to represent the fake hide card, this could definitely turn into a very elaborate mind game. It turned out to be a very elaborate mind game that Strider is playing. Hmm. Hmm. Where is he? I don't know. Hmm.
Holy bullets number 2 discarded. Scouts again. So that's now Rufus, a scout, and 2 scouts. If I were a Skybreaker, I would definitely poke at Ireland. Quite possibly Dublin. So it was a semi-act, and Dracula is currently in Lisbon. Alright. Well then. Now things are likely going to start getting interesting. So is Mia ready to start moving yet, or are the horses deeply buried? Okay. Alright. Alright. I can understand that. So what will strategy now? Sorry if I'm not writing all that much commentary, but I tend to think quietly when I'm in a when I don't have a co-com with me. But sadly, today that was just not the case. So he went most likely to either Madrid or Santander. I'm assuming that the rumor token is at Granada.
No newspaper, indeed. So now he'll have to kind of guess where the first encounter lays. Right. Oh. Slow horse. Okay. Sense of emergency. Okay, that'll be to send him down to Granada, which is the most likely location for this rumor token. Oh? That's odd. But okay. Well, I'd be careful there here, Sky, because technically Dracula could be at Santander now and be about to move on to Bordeaux. Don't go landing right on top of Dracula. I'd be a bit careful there. Yeah, I think it would have been correct to simply land at Le Havre. I mean, it is possible he hasn't been to Granada at all. It could be Madrid, Cadiz, Lisbon, Santander, or Cadiz, Madrid, Lisbon. It's some combination of these two. Hmm. So, Gladon will likely be horsing to Marseille, I would assume. Then Sword will walk to Granada, I would assume. Then Van Helsing will land, presumably on Bordeaux, but, as I already mentioned, Dracula could be there. So that's definitely dangerous. Is he gonna actually move by sea one more time, perhaps? So that he can land at Lisbon? Or something? I mean, that might make a certain amount of sense. Guess wrong. And now... but that's the thing. Will Strider wipe the trail? I would at least consider not doing so. Considering that the hunters are gathering very close now. I was afraid of that. So what has Van Helsing got? Two guns. Yeah, if me had another event, I would say that there would had another event. I would say that there was potential for a charred carriage right onto Bordeaux to make it a 2-on-1, but I have my doubts about, well, this stuff. In fact, what I might do is Dracula, especially if you manage to kill Van Helsing. Although, mind you, since he has two guns, a kill is definitely less likely, because he is very well protected against claws. Does Van Helsing have escape route? Heroic leap? Well, he seems to have a combat event, not one that will prevent the combat entirely, but perhaps one that will help him. Plan to ambush. Alright. Alright. So, what Van Helsing wants most is to escape. Because it's early enough where Dracula only needs to stay this one round. Okay, and Skybreaker is playing according to the fact. And Strider is playing according to that fact. So, okay, so seemingly Van Helsing doesn't have a heavenly host. So what now? Now I would go with a rifle that you showed to block an escapist bat.
I would be tempted as Dracula to do a. How many holy bullets are discarded? All of them. Since you know there's no holy bullets, I would be tempted to do a fang. Just heal up a little. Garlic? Okay. Yeah, that's definitely... Yep, that was very good for Dracula. Yeah, and what's more, this rumor token is maturing. So, at a guess, I would go to Geneva, or rather, or would I? I suppose I would likely go to Le Havre with that bat. Or possibly in Barcelona, and then go back into go to Wolfram down to Alicante. That's probably not the best of ideas, but it's a thought. And you could just go to Geneva and then Wolfram to Munich and then head east as well, which is probably one says the wiser idea, and yet that may not be completely true. Okay, so he batted to somewhere still within Gallia. That was good psychic bond. So that means that he did not bat to Geneva. So that's kind of only leaves it was Cadiz. He hit at Cadiz. By the looks of things. At a guess, that will be either Paris or Le Havre. And now he's just gonna wolf form. Create some distance. The problem that now that this creates for Dracula is that now the hunters have very little to do apart from just catch him. Seward can just walk to Santander, deal with that, and now they simply have to find him. And they will find it. In order to find his next encounter, they had to find him. So, I mean, 7 points is a big deal. Not to mention an escape as bat, so he is plus a wolf escapes as bat wolf form, so he is a good distance away from them now. But yeah, and the hunters can still come back from this. There have been many a game where as ruined vampire matures, and then the hunters just pounce on Dracula. Well, then the game ends in the hunter's favor. But, well, one way or another, Dracula has secured 7 influence. I mean, if Vampire Lair comes out, that may decrease, but we'll see. So, Godalming. I would check Paris, personally. Ah, yes, that does make sense. Blocking Munich. Good call. Yeah, Seward I would simply send in to deal with Santander. While the others continue in the business of chasing after him. Hmm. Okay, so it was from Paris. And it makes sense. You can get anywhere from Paris that you could have gotten from Le Havre. So, yes, it's more likely that they'll find it, but what do you care? It's about making distance in this case. And it's possible that he will form back down to Toulouse to be real sneaky, but that would be risky. Hmm. Okay, checking Zurich. Is Goldaming the only one that has a horse? I mean, if so, the other hunters may want to try to dig up at least one more. Like, at least Mia should try to find one. Because the hunters still have plenty of time. We're only just entering week 2. Oh, doggies. Fog. I kind of expected that, to be honest. He was standing, that's the turn, he was standing right next to Seward. So it makes sense that he would play a fog. Especially since it's a small port town. So where is that wolf form? It could be down at Toulouse. Yeah, especially with that fog there that was bound to trap a hunter. That was most likely going to trap a hunter. Perhaps coming back down here is the right thing. As for, they will be chasing around up here for quite a while. Two stakes in the discard. Things are definitely getting interesting there. And number 3 is showing on Mina. So what does Van Helsing do? Not Cologne. I expect that if it is in this direction, it will likely be Nuremberg. Yeah, do a scan, makes sense. But the problem is, if he went to Nuremberg, he may well be in Prague or backtracking to Strasbourg at this point. I will see. Oh, he is in Germany. I mean, he could be hiding in Amsterdam, so... About to go up to the UK. And the feed definitely reinforces that thought. Either that or he... Well, no. Yeah. That seems to just say that he's in Amsterdam to me. Speed telegraph. A renewed vigor? No. So start with Seward supplying, although that won't really do much. Oh, not Amsterdam. So, in that case, most likely either Frankfurt or Leipzig, currently, and just decide to bluff that he was in Amsterdam, knowing that the hunters would think that. Horses, well, now you can check Nuremberg, see if that was the Wolfhorn location or whether it was Frankfurt. Ah, apparently he's hiding there. Slow horse for the rescue. A spy. That could be definitely a nuisance. Strider is apparently a bit pissed at the slow horse. Discarding a rifle, okay. And there is a reckless vampire there as well. Escape route. Nope. So, Seward. He has nothing to do but supply. And discard you on the Dracula event. So I suppose Mina should probably go in here. Not only because that makes it 2v1, but also because then tonight she can stake the vampire that's there. Since she's holding the stake. Alright. Reckless vampire. So Mina has not been showing a horse, so it stands to reason that she has two weapons. Oh, Holy Circle? Huh. I might have reserved that for the Dracula fight. Use that to make sure Dracula can't escape his bat again. Just end the fight. Just end the fight after one round of damage. Presumably, the other item that Mina has is a knife. And probably the same for Gul'dan. Either that or a Heavenly Host, because we haven't had those discarded. So what would I do as Dracula? I would likely open up with a claws. Because the fact that Gul'dan discarded a rifle to the spy implies that he has something else. Fangs. Okay, dodge. That makes me think that it's a Heavenly Host okay, punch. So we'll land at a point of damage.
Hmm. I wonder. Could Mia be holding... Mia could, in theory, be holding the other... Wait, no, there's the other holy circle. But that would be a very ridiculous idea. To... Plotting versus... a rifle. That was a little bit mistimed, I think. I mean, she's getting the damage. And a knife. So, 5 damage. So now... And they still haven't taken this single scratch. I mean, mind you, that was applying, so that may well be about to change. Mesmerize. Alarming in the meantime. Uh-oh. Now that's not good. That, I think, was a mistake. Fangs. Does Mina have a knife? No, she only has that rifle, it would seem. Oh, but great strength is about. So it, while that heals him up a bit, that ends and gets him an influence point. That he doesn't get to escape with his bats, and well, Mina's still there and alive. I mean, so Mina is gonna search and destroy the vampire. That's like practically certain. Yeah, it is noteworthy that Mina is kind of not that the best prepared for combat, nor seemingly as good gliding. Like, Glading had a knife, and he had a rifle that was discarded to the spy. But so I mean, he can pick up a ticket. Mystic Research. Well, that's interesting. Discard one Dracula card. Well, that's nice. In which case, Mia can just pick up an event. I mean, but then she'd have to show it. So I'm not sure if that's the best of ideas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 so far. So there are 5 on the bottom. Now 4. Lucky find. What do you know? Combat event. What would I do if I were Dracula in this situation? I think I would go Zurich, most likely. So I just got a reasonable amount of damage that at time. And suffered no damage. I think no damage themselves, yeah. And they lost great strength, but
Hmm. So then. Where now? Hmm. So they had some sort of dawn event. Do they have the renewed vigor? Possibly a surprising return to summon Rufus and search with him? To see if they can find Dracula? Ah, that's it. Hmm. Not Zurich. Okay. So. That being the case, I would probably check Leipzig, because he may well be trying to make for the sea. Alright. And honestly, yeah, I would move either to Munich or Leipzig. Well, then again, yeah, I suppose he doesn't want to pick another fight yet. He wants to restock his items. Why didn't Mina not stake the vampire? Because if that vampire matures, Dracula wins. She could have staked it last night. Why didn't she? Very surprising. Garlic and hmm. Okay. I suppose he's figuring that since she has Lucky Find, uh, it's fine for her to simply have 2 items. Okay. I suppose I can see the logic behind that. Behind the veil. Okay, so now we know that Dracula at present does not have a fog. Taking out the Aristocratic? Okay. I probably would discard the bodyguards or something like that, but I mean, aristocratic is no big deal. But okay. I mean, let's hope that Mina remembers to take that vampire. Because, as I said, if that vampire matures, even if it didn't have the room token, it would send him up to 12 influence. So I do hope that you have not forgotten that's there, in the excitement of there being a combat with Dracula and all that. Let's review. So, there have been only a couple weapons discarded, and one of them was not by choice. Yeah, there's still a lot of weaponry kicking about. Yeah, it's possible that now that Skybreaker, it's quite likely that now that Skybreaker has found at least one of the other horses. Are you gonna shake the vampire, Nina? Okay, good. So this game, it looks as if this game is likely going to be close. And I say likely, but there's no guarantee, of course. Dracula does still have 10 HP. So, it's not out of the question that he will win nice and strong. But the hunters have no trail to go with. And now that they have taken a day to stock back up, they can give chase again. The question is, where is he right now? Because from Nuremberg, there are all sorts of places he could have gone. And since he wolf formed there from his previous location, he could be in any of these 6 locations. About moving out of that said location. So, he did check Zurich, so he isn't going. If he is going to Marseille, he's not going via the direct route. Munich. I think that's where I would send. I might send Goldaming there now. Oh, that sword found a horse. Wondered if he already had that, but simply didn't use it because there was never much point. Since first he did sense of emergency. And so I wonder how long he's had that. Oh, and Van Helsing found the other horse. Okay. So now the hunters are moving around a lot quicker. I suspect Munich, Venice, and now he's going to go ferry Adriatic Sea. Although that's actually not that strong now. I would send Mia to Munich. Okay, that's an alternative. Check if he was there. Because if he was there, then since he wasn't at Vienna, he would now have to be at Berlin. I figure that Mia will be taking another night supply. Because I think they have like 1 or 2 of those left.
Or do they have any left? I'm honestly not completely sure. Hmm. At this point, I strongly suspect Strasbourg. He's heading back towards Spain. Alright, where's Gul'dan off to? Because the thing is, the hunters still have a good deal of time. I mean, we are almost to the end of the second week. No. Hmm. So, I would just check Strasbourg, see if he went through there. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I agree with this method of searching. Hmm. Yep, and Strasbourg. Strasbourg, I would assume Paris and then Nantes. And now he's gonna go back down into Spain.
Oh, I had a pizza wizard. Strasbourg, Paris. I am assuming that Dracula is currently in Nantes. So, hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yes, Captain Jarrow, thanks for listening to Discord. But I'm just being rather. I acknowledge that this is being a rather quiet uh, stream, considering that I simply don't have a co-com, and well, it's hard to keep going to keep things too entertaining. But I mean, to say review, there was a rumored vampire under a high car at Cadiz. Oh, oh, hello, Jaro. Uh, well, to review from the beginning, Dracula began in Spain with Sky doing the Peace Wizards setup. Cadiz, there was a Cadiz Hide vampire with a rumor token that matured, and then it Van Helsing actually came to the mainland a bit strangely. He went English Channel, North Atlantic, and then ended up landing on Dracula in Bordeaux. Dracula batted it away to Paris, then mole formed to Nuremberg, and then hid there. But since allowing World of Slow Horse from Munich, he actually landed on him, and then Mina was with him for a 2v1, leaving things as you now see them, with Dracula at 10 HP. After a feed before the fight. Yeah, I'm not sure I fully understand Sky's reason, all of Sky's moves, like his reasons for all of them, but like such as Van Helsing's method of coming ashore. Yeah, and in this, and yeah, and in this combat, by the way, Mina got bitten and they spent great strength. But well, yeah, and Goldomin escaped as well, so he didn't get to bat away that time, and leaving us. Yes, I noticed. We know that much. Well, and not Nuremberg after. Well, yeah, because that's where he came from, to Strasbourg. And then they also got a surprising return to Rufus. They checked Zurich, but that was when he was at Strasbourg. Like, they were checking if he was trying to head down towards Marseille, I'm assuming. Uh, so, uh, so he could, yeah, it could be Strasbourg, Zurich, Milan, Genoa, and most recently Genoa. I don't. Yeah. I mean, the hunters still have a full week before Fear of Dracula kicks in, but a single vampire and any Fear of Dracula. Yeah. That is true. Uh, yes. Another peculiar thing that happened at the beginning is that after he placed the initial encounter, he actually did a dark call. Oh? Hmm. Well, no. Not, not quite. It, he got picked up at Lisbon, actually. And that's how they learned he was down in Spain. But the encounter itself was at Cadiz. He had just moved to Lisbon, and Van Helsing immediately came off. Well, because after Lisbon, he went Santander, and then he went to Bordeaux, since Seward had come off to go deal with what he had assumed was Granada. And then Van Helsing landed on him, so he batted to Paris, then wolf formed to Nuremberg. Since he had wolf form available. Yes. And that's I mean, well, Seward was in truth like only just coming over, since he was stuck in a fog at Santander for a couple days. And then secondly, well, there was a spy under the hide card, so Godalming lost a thing. Mina was holding nothing but a stake, nothing but a stake with which he and that rifle that she has. She found the lucky find with a night supply, which was supplied by the mystic research that happened. But they were definitely undersupplied. They had so quote unquote had quite a bit of casualties in terms of items. They got into a 2v1 at Nuremberg. Yeah. Godalming, I mean, yeah, it definitely is much better when there's someone to chat with. That's why I was all quiet. Yeah, I said with the stream I put in the Discord, still looking for COCOM. Well, yeah, my assumption at this point is that he's down the boot, and that he went Strasbourg, then Zurich after they searched it with the surprising return. Ah. Oh. Hmm. Alright, let's see if I can fix that. Alright, that means that the game... let me see here. Uh... Let me see... Discord... Good to... Yeah, yeah, I'm working on it. Uh... Just... Okay, try saying something.
Hello, hello,
There we
ladies and
go.
gentlemen. Can you
There we
hear
go.
me? Excellent.
They should be picking it up now. There we go. Now, last thank you, Pizza Wizard, for alerting us to the fact.
Everybody must have been so confused.
But yes, I was just bringing Gyro up to date on what's been happening.
Yeah. Now I'm.
But in
all
any
caught
event,
up.
but apparently he did not go to Zurich either. Goodness. I think no. Oh, Strasbourg, Geneva, Clermont-Ferrand, Toulouse.
Yeah, maybe he was thinking the last thing he'll ever think is that I'm going back to Spain.
Yes, and potentially no. I
mean, what else?
we also saw
You could have.
we also saw Behind the Veil, by the way, and at the time, and that was fairly recently. In fact, I think that was the night of the fight, as they were doing some night supplies for the mystic research, and they, and I don't think he had any vampires at the time, so.
What if he went from Nuremberg to Strasbourg to Frankfurt, right? It's
That would
super
be a tricky
dangerous,
one.
but because from Frankfurt you could go to Leipzig and then Berlin, and then you start going down Prague and.
Well, Mina was at Prague until just a bit ago.
Right, but he could have gone. Oh, you're right. There's already 4 cards on the trail, so it would have had to been 1, 2, 3. He could have maybe thrown a hide in, but yeah. Other than that, you're right.
Hide only just came off, so that would have to be right now.
Yeah, yeah. He could be hiding in Berlin. In that.
Yeah, but
Um.
yeah, this isn't looking good for the hunters. Not all is lost yet, but it is noteworthy that I do believe there was a hoax among the stuff. At this point, I'd be surprised if he hasn't found one and possibly tossed that down. And there's 9 Drac events in the discard, so.
I heard they're discarded Dracula encounter cards that are face down. Desecrated sword? No.
No. The wipe of a vampire.
Oh.
Plus, evidently he cleared his one lair at.
And okay. If it's a lair or a vampire clears it, it's face.
Yeah,
down.
he chose to, and that's if Dracula clears it.
Right.
So he chose to clear his lair at Santander. Okay, this will at least give them. Oh,
it was Frankfurt. Do you think I'm right? Do you think he hid in Berlin and he's in Prague now, or did he try to go through like Brussels? That's kind of all he could have done, right?
If he went through Brussels, surely it would have been
No,
Paris.
dude. Yeah, I'm right.
Yeah,
he went for Prague.
I think that's maybe what he's up to.
Yeah, because why would you go Brussels? With the hunter positioning, it doesn't make any sense. You'd be heading closer to them in a really goofy way. All they'd have to do, and Brussels is such an easy place to check. It's a big city. It's right next to Paris. It's got a great train to other places.
Yeah.
Brussels is almost never a good spot for Dracula. I mean, obviously that's a generalization, but it's just one of those not good cities for him.
Yeah.
Kind of like how Barcelona is just almost never a good city for Dracula. It can be. Barcelona's a little different, but I mean, you know how it is. It's like a death trap. You go there, you have to go to 48 next, right? I mean, obviously that's a generalization, but There's just some cities to me that are just inherently less favorable for Dracula to want to track through, right? Like the obvious example would be 36, except that it actually works the other way around, right? 36 is so well connected and so well traveled that it's like the best place in the world for Dracula to go, because then on the next turn they don't know where to check yet. But yeah, like certain cities are just inherently not great, and I think Brussels is one of them.
Yeah,
So it makes a lot of sense.
unless I'm wolf forming out Tyrrhenian or it's early game, tend to just avoid Marseille in general, because that's always one of the first places they check.
Yeah, if it's really early, it might not be a good thing to go there. But like, yeah, how many times have you seen a game where Dracula goes to 36? It happens at one point in like almost half the games. I wish we had some data on how well traveled the cities were. That would be really interesting. If there's some kind of like number crunching that could be done that would tell us like this city is more frequently or less frequently visited by hunters or by
Okay,
Dracula.
so what
And
we've
I was
got
wrong
here...
this time. He didn't go for Prague.
You are partially correct in that he went Frankfurt.
Right, but it makes sense because my
Bodyguard.
plan,
Okay.
my plan for him to hide in Berlin, he would have had to do it like perfectly, right? Ooh, that's not great. Especially when you're only one city from Dracula and now you're delayed and hurt.
Well, considering that it's obviously Amsterdam,
Right. Now, I mean, as Dracula, would you have rather gone to Amsterdam and then misdirected Cologne instead, and now they'd have no idea where you were?
that would... misdirecting Cologne, probably I probably wouldn't. I would simply hide at Amsterdam instead. Because when you use a power card that isn't hide, you kind of broadcast that you kind of just broadcast that you are up to something weird.
Shenanigans. Yeah, that is a good point, right? Like if Dracula felt like he was in a place of safety, why would he feel the need to misdirect one of his cards, right? He's only going to do that because he's up to some shenanigans. Precisely.
Misdirect in particular. Feed, I wouldn't suspect a thing.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, you can actually be really clever with feed. Did you see Randiv's game?
No.
Gosh, I can't remember who he played off the top of my head. I feel so bad. But Randiv was like cornered with nowhere to go in the east. And then he played the feed card. He was in Sofia, right? And then he moved one space and played the feed card. And everyone, from the hunter player to the commentators, everyone thought that he'd gone to Varna to feed. Because it makes perfect sense, right? You go to 56, you put down fog, and you feed on top of it, right? But he didn't do that. He went to Belgrade when he was essentially surrounded by hunters. But
yeah,
the
that's the
effect
sort
that
of
it had. It was like telegraphing to the other player, "Hi, you know where I am. I'm at a port now, and I'm feeding on top of fog." It was some very clever misdirection.
Yeah, yes, but that's when they're right on your heels. In this case,
it was also a desperation move, but it did have to work. But yeah, it's every situation's a little different. It's just
in this
interesting to
case,
ponder
they
the mind
they only
games.
knew. In this case, they only knew that, and at the time you would have done the misdirect, they only knew Strasbourg, so so that would have been a little too telegraphic.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. The things you can do as Dracula to try to imply that you're doing something else. Right? You could see more
Yes.
on this when we talked in one of the videos about like shadow trails, right? Like whatever card you put down could also imply that you did something different. But you can like quote unquote tip your hand. But not really. You're just fibbing your opponent. You're deliberately trying to get them to suspect something is up, when that's not it at all. he'll think that I wolf formed from the Mediterranean, but actually I'm over here, right? That kind of thing. Feed. A classic example is also like, let's say you start the game as Dracula and you move 2 cities and then you go to sea, right? You're broadcasting that you're in Ireland, right?
Well,
So
actually,
you can
with the
give
Dark Hall
like
at the
the
beginning,
phony Irish start.
with the Ireland star at the beginning, since he actually got Rufus and 2 hired scouts early, I was wondering if he was going to check Ireland, because it wasn't until, in fact, it wasn't until the scouts where he discovered Lisbon popped up that he knew that he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was on day 5, I think. Just before something slid onto the newspaper or spot for Dawn or Dusk.
I'm going back reading the chat a little bit.
Yeah.
Pizza Wizard calling it with Amsterdam.
Typical Pizza Wizard.
People avoid Marseille, Nuremberg, Strasbourg, and Munich because they're so often checked and with small inconvenience, says Pizza Wizard. True. True. And it's a testament to the balance of the game, I think, that those places that are so well connected, that create so much obfuscation for Dracula, they carry their own balance with them, because that obfuscation, the price of that is that it's well connected to everything else for the hunters. So it's sort of just like a self-sustaining feedback loop of game balance.
Yeah. Do you mean... Well, in truth, I agree with Strider. Van Helsing should move, but onto Brussels, so that he can heal up 1 extra.
We should move, but onto Brussels. Strider's taunting him. Come on. Come jump on in, old man. Water's warm.
Here's a nice joke that I made with Skybreaker while we were waiting for Strider, since Strider, apparently due to traffic, was running a little bit late. It was that I told him we'll see if Strider manages to get your heads out of the clouds.
Dracula has what, 13 health now? That's unfortunate, because that's kind of a lot. Yeah, if he was at like, say, 8 maybe, and you play Surprising Return, you put Rufus Smith back into the rotation, you've got CG and maybe a Hypnosis in your back pocket, something like that, like, we could still be cooking with gas. But 13 is kinda high, but it's still doable.
Yes, still doable. And and what's more, we haven't seen any RVs yet. We've seen one speed telegraph, but we haven't seen either RV. The way that there's never been a Heavenly Host discard, now 2 have just been revealed.
42 cards in the event deck. I've seen better, I've seen worse. You know, it's not too shabby.
Yeah.
We've still got Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Kill him on Sunday or Monday.
Sunday, Monday, and they have one or on Tuesday.
But do you go Mr. Green mode here? Because when Mr. Green played you, this is where he started night supplying. You know, just going for it because he needed that CG so bad.
Yeah, it wasn't that quite a game.
Oh, that was a thrill. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of really hoping that it was a reckless vampire. Not that I wanted to see Mr. Green lose per se,
But you wanted him to
but it would have been
because
incredible to see that extremely niche mistake be punished. I think there's a when we spectate this game, at least my opinion is, we tend to like to see mistakes punished. It doesn't really matter by what side. You want to see mistakes punished. And even more than that, you want to see a good play punished too. You know, like, oh, Dracula just wolf formed from Strasbourg, and then he escaped as a bat, and they found him anyway. You know, it's fun to see anything get punished, but especially sloppy mistakes. You don't want that.
Yeah, although that thing is not so much of a punish as just good play by both players. Right. But basically, in other words, that was unfortunate because fun fact, I actually could have played a reckless that day, but
oh, no.
but I didn't. There are 2 recklesses on the next spot. On the one without a river token. But
it just is so fun to see those little niche rules actually come into play, and then even an experienced player could potentially make a mistake that almost cost them the game.
Yeah.
It's just, what a game.
Yeah, I don't. And after a game like that, I'm not going to be mad at losing. Not at all.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's tough to beat yourself up over that one.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to be a bit too sneaky early, and that's when the 2v1 got me down low. But, and I was hobbling about with 5 health forever. But, nonetheless, I managed to survive to week 4 and got 12 influence, so I definitely can't be mad about that.
Yeah, what a time to decide to feed, Aruk says. It's not like there was fog there. He just went to Amsterdam and played feed with all of them nearby. If there'd have been a renewed vigor play, the devastation that could have been wrought upon Dracula, like, you have any idea? Like, they were not far away at all from Amsterdam. They really weren't.
No.
But he's just being really cocky because Van Helsing's really hurt.
Well...
And I guess maybe he's looking at the events and he's also thinking maybe he's a little undersupplied, you know? Like, Seward has one event, Godalming has one event. What are they going to do? Are they really going to kill me with just their weapons?
Yeah, Forewarned is extremely unlikely.
They might.
But...
They might, though.
But, I mean, it's not all that poor of an assumption for it to be the fog.
Even with the rumor token, though?
I mean, rumor token barely does anything at this time. With this one, as much influence as he has, this is the time of a game where I would just be throwing it down for funsies, or just to goad them.
I mean, you make a good point, but I'm not. Sure. I'm not so sure.
Does that hurt him?
It
hurts you.
Top-hatted fiend.
It hurts you, Strider. Yes.
Does that hurt me? Yeah, I mean, the hunters are back-footed right now. It's true. This is one of those, like, it's not looking so great, you guys, kind of games. But they can totally be 1-2. They can totally be 1.
I mean, yeah, that's precisely what Mr. Green did.
Yeah, this game I had with my sister and her boyfriend was so fun. And my sister and I were the hunters, and we're back-footed the whole time. It looked like he was going to get away, but then you throw a Hail Mary pass and you get him. And the feeling of elation is unbelievable. You can do it, Skybreaker. It's not over yet. You just killed his vampire. Dracula has no trail remaining. Yeah, yep. Sure, it's Thursday. He has kind of a lot of points. You know, that's not the best, but...
Yeah.
You can focus entirely on the killing of him now.
Yeah, as was the case when he chose to mature the vampire in Cadiz. Apart from the Santander, which ended up being a fog, that Seward got stuck behind, all the rest were able to focus on him.
But you have to. What do you do now, though? Like, if Dracula lands now, I mean, he's not gonna. There's no way he would just land in 19. That would be so stupid.
Well, I'm.
That would be like throwing the game away. Because he has
Yeah,
13 health still.
and
you can go
he
to the
know.
north. You can go all the way to the Ionian.
And what's more, Dracula knows that even if he wolf forms to Manchester, Goldong should have Heavenly Host for a Desecrated Soul, and Mia should have Heavenly Host for a Desecrated Soul. They can at the very least CG Hotel him into 19 if he lands today.
If they have CG.
Yeah, but does he
Yeah,
want to
that's
risk that? Well, he's at such a high HP.
No, I don't think you would. No, this isn't the sort of time where Dracula needs to roll the dice in order to try to save himself.
Yeah, unlike where I was. Yeah, he's at 11 compared to my 5.
Right.
So, yeah, this is.
Well, you played smart because you did play smart. I'll say this: I was thinking, how is he going to do this? CG that. But CG is a card that they may or may not have. You got to look at their hand and see the heroic leap. Like, you know they have the heroic leap. The card you know about that can kill you, that's the one you need to be the most concerned about, not the one that they might have.
In truth,
like in a situation where it's immediately threatening.
Yeah, in truth, I actually didn't completely know, because it flashed by so fast. But I thought that I caught it, but I thought it was something else in all honesty. But I did have that in mind. Yes.
Yeah.
But at that point, I mean, it's two things that have one copy. If I'm at a distance, only one of them can hurt me. If I'm close up, both can. So
Right.
I just gotta hope they don't have it and go for it.
Play around what you can at least play around.
Yes. Which I was glad to watch back your recording and just see your bafflement when I was at Frankfurt and how I pulled that off.
I kind of forget a little bit.
You and Scott were just
I remember
baffled.
the ending of the game. Yeah, I was probably really confused. I love it when Dracula is able to confuse everybody. That's what you want to do as Dracula,
Yeah.
right? There's two things you want to do. You want to kill hunters. I'm sorry, there's three things. You want to kill hunters, you want to suck blood, and you want to baffle everybody so that they're all going, oh, what? How did he? Because that's how you know you're doing something right. You're having a fun time.
Yeah. It was a fun game. Mr. Green earned that win. By knowing what his win condition was after I managed to slip away to England.
Yes, and pursuing it relentlessly. He didn't get sloppy and start just like rushing everybody to England. Oh, we gotta chase him down. Like, exactly like he said, he knew what the win condition would be. It was CG, and he just nice applied away. And to hell with the consequences.
I got 5
two or three
Dracula
cards. There's only 2 or 3 cards that are gonna save Dracula's bacon when we play this CG. So as long as we don't hit the seriously troublesome ones, we win.
Yeah, and even when he hit Emmanuel
like
Hill's team, he didn't give me anything all that big.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate.
I mean, it was useful, but it allowed me to throw a few kinks into his thinking. He told me after, but like for instance, what trail was still left at the time? What trail was left at the time? How soon he should send Van Helsing to Manchester in case I had seduction to just, whoops.
Yeah,
just
a powerful part of the Dracula card play is just the doubt, the unknown factor that the hunters now have to work around. Oh, what if he has unearthly swiftness? We need to kill that rumored vamp today.
Yeah, that is the one that would have saved me.
Yeah.
If I'd gotten that, then I would have gotten it. But it is what it is.
That brings me to like the old debate about just how strong are the Dracula cards and just how afraid should you really be of him getting them, right? Like, because two
at
sides to
at
it.
that
Really.
at that
Like,
late phase
the
of the
scary
game,
ones are
not
bad.
at that late phase of the game, very few of them all that scary.
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess that's the lesson. Is it's not about night supplying per se. It's about when to night supply. It's all about knowing when
Yeah.
to do it and when not to do it. And even then, you still get unlucky sometimes. But yeah, like night supplying in the first week is not smart. Night supplying in the third week might be, depending.
yeah.
It's interesting.
So second C move.
Because I think the
Why
old
aren't
mentality used to be to just never do it ever. But I think people are coming around to the idea that
sometimes you just have to if you.
some games it's not going to be in the cards unless you try to get some more cards.
Yeah.
Which I think is overall good for the game. I think you want to see Dracula get to play more cards. I mean, in a vacuum, right? I'm not saying I want to see Dracula's win rate shoot up to 70% or anything like that. I still want the game to be balanced. I just want to see Dracula get to play some of his cards more often.
Yeah.
Adds a bit more interactivity, and it's really fun when somebody plays a good lucker or a good luck, really. You know, that interactive element.
Speaking, I mean, with all this talk of supplying, I don't exactly like the fact that he's doing that now. I would be hightailing it to get someone over to Nantes Bordeaux, because to stop him, to be ready to intercept him when he, because now that he's made his second sea move, he could be at North Atlantic, ready to wolf form like into Santander.
Yeah, I'm with you, Pizza Wizard. As Dracula right now, I don't see why you would land at all until Fury of Dracula kicks in. I mean, you got 10 health. What's wrong with sailing? And then you land and you have 11 points. Then
True.
they have to kill you immediately or you win.
Well, but nonetheless, I would be preparing for that.
So it's tricky though, because if you wait for that long, then England's out of the question. But if you move everybody to the French coast now, he's just gonna probably continue to sail onward. But that'd be fine.
Ooh, I don't like using that.
I'd have held on to that. Ooh, that means he can move again, and we don't know if he's in the Irish Sea or the English Channel or the South Atlantic.
Yeah, I would have waited
That's
one
a
day.
tricky
I would have waited one more day on that one.
One more day might have done it. Now, it used to be folks would play Money Trail after Dracula had landed.
In some cases, that is correct, but
there's a much more skillful trick that I'm sure you know, which is to play it when you're certain that Dracula is at the end of his sea voyage and he's going to land next turn, right? So a classic example would be if he were to play 4 more sea spaces right now. Well, even 5. Let's say he played 5 more right now. Right?
for some
I mean, he would never
reason.
do that. Sure, right? Let's just say. Then you would play Money Trail while he was still in the ocean. Because you know he can't go a single other space. You see, that's not a great example because you wouldn't see that very often, but you do see that sort of circumstance, right? Like, I've had a game where I counted sea spaces and then I knew Dracula had to either be in the Adriatic or the Black Sea. Usually it happens because the preceding sea space is already on the board, right? Like, let's say he went to Med and then Cagliari and then Turanian. Now you know that if he plays 2 more, you've got him, right?
Yep. So it has evolved a little bit, but that was definitely a premature Money Trail.
Yeah. Well, I hope that doesn't cost him the game.
Likewise.
Because if you played it next turn and caught him in the South Atlantic, now he has to sail on and go down to 8 health, or you could kill him in Spain of all places. think Dracula's going to be happy about that though. Now, because now you just go to South Atlantic and wolf forms.
Either that or English Channel.
Yeah, I guess I would probably go Spain. Would I?
Actually, I would I would quite possibly, I would definitely consider doing Irish Sea, and then wolfing to London,
Yeah.
and then doing
Yeah.
London Plymouth, so that you can come back to the mainland.
And you, I mean, you could even hide, move to Swansea, feed. No, by then it's going to be Monday. You don't want to feed on Monday, but you could land in London and then feed.
Then hide.
No,
You
feed
go
will
to
still.
Plymouth.
Yeah, if you did, because feed's going to be. No, feed won't fall off the trail in time. If he goes to Irish Sea now, tomorrow feed will be in the 5th spot, and he'll have to move then. And then the next day, feed will go to the 6th spot, so it still won't be available to him by then. So that
Okay.
means he could still feed, but he's gonna cost himself 3 points to do it.
Well,
But that won't really matter though, because he's gonna go straight up to 11 anyway, unless you have a vampire lair.
yeah, Vampire Lair would buy them one more day.
Maybe you go to the Mediterranean Sea and wolf form to Cagliari. That's
Mm,
what Terminus says.
I'm not so sure about that terminus and the reason being is to go to Mediterranean you have to move 4 sea spaces.
He's gonna know you're there. Yeah. As Drac, having seen that money trail, you want to move now, and that's gonna be your last sea move
Yeah.
until you land. And you want to land somewhere that's right next to a port so you can go to sea again. The English Channel makes things tricky, but I think it would be maybe doable. Because by the time he was in the Channel, like if he went to Irish Sea now, I mean, by the time he has to go to the Channel again, he'd win by then though.
Precisely.
Yeah, he'd win by then.
But unless you get sieged off. I'm saying that basically you can return to the mainland if you get sieged off.
Yeah, but if you're right, Wolf to London, you get sieged off, you go to English Channel, and they've got all the time in the world to just wait for you to land in Le Havre.
Yeah, but the problem is at that point,
At that point, he'll have 11 points, and he'll win the game just by landing, even if he lands onto 4 hunters. What a pickle. I mean, kind of for both of them. I mean, Dracula has the upper hand here, but he doesn't want to bungle this.
yeah. Yeah. Irish Sea being... Well, actually, if they CG him off immediately, then actually he won't get any points from it, Britannica, as it won't quite be week 4.
Wow.
So therefore they...
You might have a point there. If you were to land on Sunday night, or even Saturday night, you wouldn't score points for that.
So perhaps it is actually correct to just go Mediterranean, despite the telegraphedness of it, and then go to... Wait, let me see. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That'd be a Sunday night landing. So possibly you just keep cruising till Tyrrhenian and then land on Cag from there.
And then you can hide for the win.
Yeah.
But
Although
if they play Vampire where you lose, and I don't think Strider wants to go back to CAG after the last time he went there.
Well,
But I mean, you got a point. Like, that could be a path to victory. Now you have to worry about Vampire Lair. And as Dracula, that's like adding another card to the equation of cards that can win the game for the hunters, right? You want to be in a situation where the only way they can win is if they play CG, because there's nothing you could do about that anyway, right?
yeah. Perhaps what you do is do a Wolfform to Dublin right now.
And then you hide.
Yeah, hide.
Then
Or
you could Gargle.
I mean, I probably wouldn't do that, but
Probably wouldn't either.
Friday, then hide. Then go to IRC, and then. But the
Go on, sorry.
That wouldn't quite work. I mean,
Aruk is saying that as Dracula, you have no way of stopping the hunters from supplying until you land. That's a very good point, and I still have trouble dealing with that in some games. Like as Dracula, if you end up forced to sea at an inopportune time, and the hunters super annoyingly decide to like block off the ports you're trying to go to, and then you're forced to continue moving by sea because it feels like you don't have any other good moves. Yeah, that can be a downward spiral for Dracula, because the ones that aren't moving to block the ports are just flying like crazy. They don't have anything better to do.
yeah.
That's where the power of the trail really comes in, and it's interesting that it's balanced with the sea cards, because Dracula's a sea, obviously he can't be hurt, but there's no cards for the hunters to worry about either. So you have to really try to find the balance.
When do we?
I wonder what Strider's thinking.
He said that he put in a BRB in the chat.
Oh, right.
So, not sure what's taking him so long, but well,
He's probably getting a sandwich.
possibly something along those lines. But in any event, when
We've discussed almost every possible move Dracula can make at this point because he's been thinking about it, or AFK.
yeah, Skybreaker's starting to get a bit concerned. What if there was a hunter event card called hire Corsairs or pirates or something, so you assault the ship that Dracula's on and then force a battle at sea.
Let's get him! The mask! Yeah, you can make a lot of like Captain Jack Sparrow jokes.
That would definitely be very amusing.
Imagine Dracula as like pirate captain. He's all sickly and hates the sea. I don't feel so good. Yeah, they're just taking a minute to wait for Strider, unfortunately. Stuff coming up.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we practically discussed every possible thing Dracula could do at this point that would be beneficial. I think I don't know, it's so tough to go to Spain because Spain is just like such a death trap, right?
I mean, Wolfhorn is short.
Maybe you're right about Ireland. You go to Dublin, because if they CG you there, you can just go to the Irish Sea and then you land at Swansea or Liverpool, whichever one they didn't CG, right? with the permanent token. I think that might be safest. And then, because if you end up in Dublin
The hard
and you
the hard
don't get
part
CG'd,
actually.
you can take your sweet time.
Well, actually, the hard part about that is I realize is if you do that, say he wolf forms ashore now, and then he won't be able to wolf form ashore into the mass of England. And if they don't, I mean, he won't dare go to Galway, will he? That'd be even more provocative of CG.
No, you're right, because he doesn't. It's close to Fury of Dracula, but it's not that close. If he were to wolf form now, he wouldn't.
Yeah,
score points
there's still
for 2 more days.
There's still 3 more Dracula moves, including this one, before Fury of Dracula kicks in. So therefore, it wouldn't happen in time for it to really matter. He'd have laid down some.
Right. If he goes to Dublin now, he's going to be scoring his points by landing in England.
Yeah.
That's how he's going to close out the game. Which means if he goes to Dublin now, and then they just supply,
I mean,
and he goes to Irish Sea, they could CG him.
I mean, granted, he has enough health where he can just do it.
He could survive the error.
Yeah. He takes
But
one.
only
He
with,
takes
like, 3 hit points left.
2 because of 1 from the wolf form, 2 from IRC. Or in fact, yeah,
Right.
which means that actually he wouldn't.
You think he would? He'd be at 1 hit point, stuck in the Irish Sea.
Okay, there we go.
But they wouldn't have enough tokens to completely shut him out. Like if you wanted to put 4 tokens down in England to give him the error, you couldn't also put 1 down in Dublin. You could go to the Irish Sea at 1 health.
The hunters simply wait for him to leave Dublin naturally because he doesn't dare go to Galway. And wait for him to land without a wolf form.
He'd be scoring points by then. He could just go to Galway.
No, because Galway would be the 3rd move.
You misdirect it.
And you risk getting CG aired that way.
Well, no. In
Iron?
the scenario I'm describing,
Uh,
well, it doesn't matter now.
One way
It
or
doesn't
another.
matter now. He's moved on. He's in the Irish Sea or he's in the South Atlantic. So we should
Or
address
Channel.
that scenario. Or the Channel. You're right. That's not a bad move because it does open up some ocean obfuscation here.
Yeah, I agree.
Unfortunate about that money trail situation, but what's done is done.
Yep.
Pizza Wizard was coaching Strider. That's what was going on there. You gotta be sneaky. You gotta be sneakier than that, man. You can put down another C card. Yeah. Okay. Movement.
Why there, not Cologne?
I do not know. I don't understand that.
Nor do I.
But he did roll a slow horse, so maybe
That
maybe
makes
his
no
plan
difference.
was- Yeah. Maybe his plan is to get to like Munich though and travel that way.
I mean,
See here, yeah, he's in Amsterdam. Good, that's a good horse. Yeah. Get him in position, cut off England. Now, as Dracula, he could be really big brain and be like, if he thinks I'm in England, he's gonna send Seward, right? And what I'm getting at is, as Dracula, you can predict where the hunters are go and try to dodge the strongest ones, right? So, he's gonna send Seward to England. I won't go there. I'll just make it look like I'm going there. That way I can dodge their most powerful hunter.
that's definitely a good char carriage.
Yeah, I like that. Now, if Dracula wants to wolf form into Spain, you're there to threaten him.
I mean,
It's a shame you couldn't make it all the way to Madrid, but that's how it goes. Madrid would be perfect.
yeah, admittedly, the rail connections are good enough where you can get most places with...
At least 48 is technically a place that Dracula could wolf form to. So you are blocking a space. It's not really his most desirable one, but you are blocking a space.
Yeah. So,
Although as Dracula, I guess 48 wouldn't be that bad to wolf form to because you're only one city from 4 from Barcelona,
or one.
and then you can. Yeah, or Alicante. You're right. Yeah. I always forget about that damn road. I lost a game because I forgot about that damn road. The one that goes from 48 to 1 of all roads. That's the one that I just like, I'm colorblind to it or something. I swear, that's the one that I always forget about. And there's a train from Milan to Geneva as well. If anybody had my blindness as well, I also never noticed that train for a very long time. Because the one that, if you follow the train track, it goes from Lisbon all the way to Zurich, right? And then from Zurich down to Genoa, and like the other connections seem intuitive. And then you got that one little one to Geneva. It just throws me off every time.
Yeah. That is... Is that a Fort or a sea move or a wolf form?
Sea move.
Alright, Mediterranean.
Maybe it's not so crazy after all that you might get 5 sea cards.
Well...
But here's the thing is like, he's not, unless he were to go all the way to Adriatic or Black Sea, he's got no more sea obfuscation going. As you said, it's the Mediterranean for sure. So he has given back any of the advantage that he might have gained from that, like,
not completely.
Sort of money trail mishandling.
Mina would have moved. Had they known it was South Atlantic.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Seward
That's
would
what I'm
have
saying.
moved.
Is like, yeah, okay, all right, that's a fair point. Yeah.
So he gained a small bit of delay. Speed telegraph.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he won't be able to capitalize much more.
Mina doesn't have a horse, so I imagine that she's gonna go first and just supply. Try to find something.
Yeah, Rook, he's just going for it. It's funny because we talked about like 1,000 scenarios that Dracula could have gone through, and in the end, it was the first one that we suggested that was right. That he would simply continue to sail. That was the first thing I said. Was he's got 13 health? Why would he even land? Just keep on going until Fury of Dracula activates. And it seems that's exactly what he's gonna do. Which is sort of interesting because if he ends up in the Turanian next, and then he wants to land, because that by then he'll want to land to score points.
Well,
but none of those places are that desirable.
Well, Wolfhorn to Bari with where they are now and all, that's not the worst. Especially if he has especially since, due to the deck getting reshuffled, I'm pretty sure he will have a fog in hand at this point to do all that disgraced soil shuffling that happened. There's only been the fog at Santander so far.
You raise a good point. He could wolf form to Bari and then simply hide. Or if he's CG'd off of Bari, that's fine too. He could just land somewhere else after he goes to Adriatic.
Yeah. So...
And the reason he has all these options available to him, these thousands of scenarios that we've listed, is because, as everybody knows, as we said before, the more health Dracula has, the more options he has. And now we're seeing it unfold right in front of our eyes. If he was down to just like 8 hit points when he had left, he'd be down to 4 now, right? No, he'd be down to just 3. Which technically wouldn't limit his options too. I mean, it would, because unless he wants to feed, that would mean he's not going to see again. Sister Agatha.
Well, that's good.
I mean, at least it wasn't Rufus Smith.
Rufus has already been drawn. He was drawn at the beginning.
It was the surprising return that we never saw, I guess. That's
well, we saw one. He used him to search at. That was how he searched Zurich after the Nuremberg fight.
Ooh.
So there's only
That's
one
unfortunate
left.
when you could have done 4 damage to him with Rufus Smith. Although, granted,
3
Rufus
so
Smith
far.
was in right. 3.
Chances are
Granted, if he was in play, he would have maybe done something different. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think quite likely he would have done the wolf form to Santander thing.
Had Rufus been in play,
Yeah. Make it 2 separate sea trips, maybe. Something like that.
We have the best chat. I love Fury of Dracula chat. You guys are great. Never change.
What's it? What are they up to now?
Terminus is comparing Dracula to the Flying Dutchman. Captain Davy Jones. Yeah, this is interesting. A little bit of Drac Sparrow. I've been known to implement that strategy myself from time to time. Like it. I don't mind it a bit. Now, in the old game, there was nothing in the rules reference that said anything about not being able to misdirect a C space. And so my sister would do this to me to no end. And it was so brutal. She would just... It didn't even have to be the end of the game like this. She would just go to North Sea, like, go to Irish Sea, land, misdirect the Irish Sea.
Sky is unhappy about being forced to Night Spy.
He's exercising a risky game plan here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Well, there's a good number down there. So... Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 14.
No, you got it. You can't night supply by counting cards with your head. You have to night supply with your heart. Oh no, wait. I mean, you idiot. Count the cards. Just kidding.
Well...
Yeah, they were brutal, Aruk. It was brutal. She would land in 13, go wherever she wanted. Didn't matter. Oh, it was the roughest stuff. Monsieur's Dracula card, sir. Here you are. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Maybe it's a custom search. Maybe it's a freaking,
Freaking sensationalist press.
Yeah, there you go. It could be totally useless.
Yeah.
Or it could be, like, only semi-scary. Slightly useless.
Yeah, I mean, Sun and Storms wouldn't be much help here.
Right. So that wouldn't help him much unless you're playing into excellent weather with Van Helsing, which looks like he might be setting that up. I agree with Quincy Morris's take. The good luck card, it should be able to remove a storm token.
Yeah.
And the reasoning is because good luck is the card that you use to try to alleviate some of the damage from the Dracula events.
Well, apparently, he started saying
Strider's not happy.
Strider is
He
not.
just flat out tells him.
He's just told us that's not anything great.
You know, he could be just trying to bluff the opponent, but something about the simple NO makes me just think trash.
Yeah.
It's a blood transfusion. Only for Dracula, blood transfusion would be like the most overpowered card because he would transfuse all of the hunter's blood into him and gain hit points, right? Be like, yeah, give me 3 health off of that event card or something like that. But for hunters, it's a bad card. Here's the weather.
Yeah, so
I like that because even if Dracula does go to CAG, you can put Van Helsing there. Although, if you have a renewed vigor, I think maybe the better move would have just been put Van Helsing.
Evil Presence.
Nah,
Well, that would have been nice
right,
tomorrow.
But he could have done this, right? He could have gone to sea today with Van Helsing to the Med, and then tomorrow Dracula lands. Then Van Helsing goes to 13, and if Dracula's not there, then he can play Excellent Weather and catch Dracula in Naples, right?
Well, more than likely he's just gonna Wolfhorn Bari, so.
Right, but you never know. He might not. And then you've got your... I mean, Van Helsing could at least do something. He could check a city, if nothing else.
With Goldaming and Seward being right there. You gotta be joking, man.
That's precisely it. You never know. Maybe he'll land in Rome thinking, they'll go right past me. Now, I wouldn't do that exactly now, but that's just an example of the kind of reasoning that can sometimes go through.
The ultimate bluffery would be to try going to Wolfhorn to Florence.
Marseille. That would be the bluffery. But you're right. Florence would also be really clever. They'll go right past me. They'll never think I went there. Right. Granted, at that point, my Excellent Weather play wouldn't really help because Van Helsing could only get to Rome, but still. Dracula still has to move 2 days, right? So if he was in Florence and Van Helsing was in Rome and you fought him with the other 2 hunters and he didn't escape as a bat, you know,
yes,
you're blocking a city now.
The problem for the hunters is that we know that Dracula does have a fog. I mean, granted, we haven't seen any forewarns yet, so it could be the game of who has forewarned that we're about to see.
Terminus says Tyranian. From the Tyranian, he's gonna wolf form to Cagliari, and then the hunters will play Vampire Lairs to lose the game.
I mean, we mentioned that as a possibility.
Yep, that could totally happen.
But here's the thing about that.
You have to have a stake.
Here's the thing about that. He wouldn't lose the game. Not necessarily.
Right. Wouldn't be over yet. Ooh, he's going to Night Supply again. He gets another hunter event. Gotta get that Lucky Find moved around maybe if you can. But it's gonna be so tough because you're gonna have to have other things to do.
That's in with Mina ever since just after the Nuremberg fight.
It's no good on her now. Yeah, you gotta get it to somebody else. Yeah, there it is. No C move this time. Okay, now he moves again. He wins.
Yeah, really.
36.
Oh, Darkness Returns.
Oh, that's anticlimactic. Well played, Dracula. He was fibbing. He did get a good Drac card.
Yeah, that is, along with Unearthly Swiftness, the best thing you could have gotten.
That's kind of... I mean, don't get me wrong. Well played and everything. Good stuff. But I was hoping to see something big. I wanted to see something incredible here.
I mean, if they have the CG...
renewed vigor, CG, yeah. I was hoping to see some
CG can still happen, actually. Keep in mind.
Yeah, but he'll just go to sea.
Yeah.
Unless he's not in Bari.
Newspaper.
If he got cocky and went to Naples or Rome, but I don't see why he would do that.
He's trying to fish for.
And Van Helsing. See, the other thing is Van Helsing's a sea, so if Van Helsing has it, he can't play it, and that really sucks because he might have been planning on playing it, but he had to land first. But now he can't land.
Vampiric influence.
Did she have the CG?
Ah! Double forewarned? Okay, well now Okay. That's hilarious.
Yeah, all she wrote. Let's see. Cooking right now. Nothing has to pass. No, that's it. That's it, ladies and gents. That's the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
weird.
We like to see them punished, but Skybreaker wasn't necessarily making a mistake when he night supplied there. He was trying to win on a long shot, you know?
Yeah,
it was probably
I think
that or nothing.
I think where Skybreaker went astray is how he handled the stuff after Nuremberg.
I missed all the middle action, yeah, but
Like, it was actually
after
directly
Strasbourg
just.
and all that. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Well.
It was Florence. No, it was Versailles. I knew he'd go there.
Just for funsies, paying